Hello everyone and welcome back to Crypto Empire, where we dominate the crypto market. My name is Connor and this is a huge week for the market. A lot of big dates, including the tax deadline. It's also the anniversary of the Titanic sinking in 1913, April 14th to the 15th. And that's a huge day, right? That's how the Federal Reserve was created. This is like a holiday for the people that run the markets, you could say. And then the infamous 420. Elon Musk's favorite date of the year is this week as well. And at this time, the market's at a very critical point, make or break point at resistance. Will Bitcoin break? We're going to talk about that right now in this live stream. Let's get into it. Welcome everyone. Smash up the like button as you're getting into the stream. Drop a comment in the live chat and let's get started with our crypto market overview. So looking at the market right now, again, Bitcoin right now is at a pretty significant resistance level, around $85,000 to $86,000. Ethereum still weak, 1639. We've seen some huge bounces, all right? We saw some huge bounces after the total 2, total 3. They took their liquidity that we talked about at length. We did spot buy some altcoins, which was great. We caught literally the bottom. I'll go over that in this stream. All entries shared inside of the Crypto Empire Mastermind. And as of right now, we are essentially waiting for confirmation. Now, looking at the crypto bubbles top 100, bit of a mixed bag. Really kind of a quiet weekend after things pumped hard yesterday. Things have kind of settled and are a bit quiet right now, just waiting for Bitcoin. So let's go over Bitcoin right now and everything that is going on. So let's start off on the daily time frame. Now, on the daily time frame, again, it's really important to understand that we are essentially in a range. We do have this pattern drawn up with trend lines connected from the all-time highs, as well as connecting these lows, and it does form a nice descending wedge on the daily time frame, on the higher time frame. And we haven't broken out yet. Like, we're at the apex point. We're either going to break out here or we will get rejected. So that's something to note as well, which is why I'm saying it's going to be a huge week. We're going to have an answer of what's to come here at this resistance level. Are we going to, break down, or are we going to break out and potentially go for 88K, which is the important closest previous swing high to current price. Let's go over the Bitget perps chart. It's a bit cleaner, less noise on it. All right, here's our Bitget chart. Like I said, a little bit cleaner here. So in terms of important price levels that you should be watching, we do have the start of a supply zone, which is where price did hit yesterday. And the start of the supply zone is exactly at $86,000. And then in this zone, we also have the previous swing high, which is at $88,740. This one just here. Now, in order to flip bullish on Bitcoin, the previous swing highs need to be closed above on the daily time frames. We haven't had any of that yet. All right. So yes, a lot of people are convinced right now that this is the breakout and we're about to run back up to new highs or something like that. I'm not really too convinced on that just yet. In order for me to grow my conviction on that idea, I would need to see, first of all, a daily time frame close above $88,740, which again is that previous swing high. That's the first order of business. No doubt about that. That is the first order of business. And then after that, the second order of business would be to reclaim the other previous swing high at $95,000. So no higher time frame previous swing highs have been reclaimed on Bitcoin. We're still waiting to see if it's actually going to make the jump to one of these levels here. We did hit resistance at 86,000. Like I said, the start of this red zone. We're seeing an initial reaction now. We're at the trend line resistance as well, going back to the all-time high. So things are just straight in the middle, up in the air. Now, in terms of me personally, I do still have a bearish posture on the market, given that, again, we haven't reclaimed any previous swing highs on the higher time frames. Okay, and like on the 4-hour we have, yeah, but I'm looking on the daily and above, the higher time frames, because the higher the time frame, the more reliable the technical analysis. So I still have the bearish posture. If we're gonna go down and touch 72 or the high 60s. It's probably going to be this week, if I had to guess. If it doesn't happen and we go up instead and we reclaim these levels, okay, that's the other thing, the other scenario to flip bullish, right? One of two things need to happen for me to flip bullish. We start reclaiming previous swing highs, or we go and hit 72K. And for the trolls, for the people that don't understand how markets work, especially as a trader, where you have certain scenarios in your head, if one scenario happens, well, then you have a plan for that. But if the other scenario happens, then you have the plan for that one as well. So for the people that don't understand, I'm bullish. I'm bullish on Bitcoin long term. And I think if we're actually going to make a solid push back to 100K and potentially break to new all-time highs, I think it's really important that it first goes down and gets liquidity at 72,000 first. So please don't be mistaken thinking I'm like some Dan Pena level bear that's yelling on the stage saying Bitcoin will go to zero, or Peter Schiff trolling how Bitcoin is worthless. Like, that's not the case at all here. All I want to see is a sustained rally back to the highs. And for the highest probability of that to happen, I simply just want to see Bitcoin come down here and grab this very important liquidity level, this demand zone. That just makes perfect sense for me, and I would like to see that happen. Because, like I've been saying, if we form this bottom out of this thin air in this no man's land area, it's very likely that the rally will end up failing. And then we'll eventually probably come down here. And at that point, I wouldn't be so sure it would result in a large bounce. It's probably going to be a continuation of a downtrend. So yeah, I'm bullish, but I want to see price grab the fuel to actually make a sustained push higher. Please don't get that mistaken. It's very important to understand that. All right, so that's Bitcoin in a nutshell right now. Again, we have tap supply. We haven't tested that previous swing high. It's also the previous week high. That's at 88,800, 88800. And then the other previous swing high up here at $95,000. We'll see. We'll see if we break this trend line and push, or it leads to another rejection and the downtrend continuation. We are at the apex of that right now. Let's go over the other majors. First of all, let's go over Bitcoin dominance first, and then get into USDT dominance and the total 2, total 3. Then we'll look at ETH, and then we'll look at altcoins. And of course, we will be answering your questions in the interim. So Bitcoin dominance, 63.25%. Still have the level up here at 66%. That would result in the perfect higher time frame triple drive. That would be ideal for a higher time frame triple drive. And let's see, on the weekly, you can see potentially forming that bearish divergence. It's printing, but it's not confirmed. We'll see if we do get that one last spike up on Bitcoin dominance up here to 66%. And very likely that will result in a top and then a drop from there, which of course is very bullish for altcoins. Macro targets lower, they're still not changed, right? We still have this level over here at 53%. And really what we're looking for like a macro top would be a nice drop all the way up here from the mid 60s down to the mid 40s. All right, this would be ideal. This would be our altcoin season, seeing Bitcoin dominance put in a 30% drop. That's what we want. But again, in order for us to get this 30% drop, it does mean like shorter term pain. Because if this spikes up, that means Bitcoin is going to go down more likely than not. Probably going to result in another crash, because when this has been spiking up, it's been at the time of Bitcoin's crazy volatility, typically to the downside over the past few months. So yeah, it's so close to 66, but not quite there yet. Will it give? Time will tell. Probably will, but the market's always right. We can have our personal biases, but the market will always prove us right or wrong. So time will tell. But anyways, that's Bitcoin dominance. Still teetering up here, mid 60s. I'm looking for 66%. and then ideally the drop down to 46%, but that's going to take time. Obviously, we take it step by step. This is higher time frame analysis. All right, let's move on now to USDT dominance. On the daily time frame. So over here on Monday, April 7th, we did spike up to a high of 6.24%. Coincidentally enough, this did mark the bottom on many altcoins as well as meme coins. This lined up perfectly with the total 2 coming down here to the level at 860 billion. This happened on the 7th of April. Okay, we also have the total 3 coming down and coming super close to the level at 645 billion. But anyways, this all happened on April 7th. Now on April 7th, like I said, you know, we can go inside of the Mastermind here. And let's see. So Doge we prepared for on April 6th on Sunday, right? We put our limit orders from 14 cents to 12 cents, most of them at 13 cents. If we look at the bottom for Dogecoin, where was it? It was at 13 cents. Literally caught the exact bottom. Literally. Tau did miss, which is unfortunate. Like I went over this already earlier in the week, but let's go over it again, right? Again, April 6th, we planned for the dump. Tau orders missed, right? I started them at 159. The low for Tau was 167. Sometimes that happens. All right. And then also, in terms of meme coins, I did buy memes. I bought Apu here when April 7th. Okay, and if we look at Apu from April 7th, you can see I put an image of that on the chart here for illustration purposes. When did we get in? Literally the lowest day. All right, so look, this was just planned out. I just had the plan. Okay, altcoins are probably going to drop to these key levels on the majors. April 7th, I deploy some capital. Ended up catching the exact bottom. There's no magic here. It's just, again, I just had the plan. I went over this many times on lives, and it ended up getting some crazy literal pico bottom entries on alts. All right, so yes, even with my bearish posture on Bitcoin, I understand that when the market hits liquidity levels, especially on the totals, right, the total hit over here at 2.3 trillion, the total 2 hit over here at 860 billion, right? All of these hit, but Bitcoin didn't. That didn't stop me from buying alts. I still did it. That was the plan. I had the plan ahead of time. This way, when it happened, I was able to act. Most people don't have a plan. And then the move happens, and they have analysis paralysis, and they're stuck in limbo. They don't know what to do. All right? Like, this is why I do what I do, and this is why I come up here and do these live streams, because, I mean, I want to show you how I go about doing it, and I'm not always right, but when I have plans, when I have set plans for the market, from staring at these charts for hours on end, I need to follow through and execute when the market presents me with the opportunity to act on that plan. And a lot of people struggle with this, so I hope that going over it like this helps you guys and kind of turn some cogs in your brain to understand like the proper way to go about playing this game, right? Because you can do things at random, or you can have plans set in place, and that's like that's how I was able to catch the literal exact bottom on coins like Doge, very close to the bottom on things like Apu. And if you just look at meme coins in general, right? If you look at memes in general, hold up, let me pull this up. Here we go. If we look at meme coins in general, April 7th was the bottom or close to the bottom on every single meme. Here's KeyCat April 7th. It was at like 23, 22.5 mil. It went down to 20. It's at 34 now, okay? So that's It's like a 50% jump. Same thing with other ones such as Mr. Miggles. Same story. The bottom for all of these was basically April 7th. The exact bottom for Miggles was actually April 7th here. All right, so again, just one benefit of being inside of the Crypto Empire Mastermind, right? Imagine, you got an alert, you got a signal at the exact Pico bottom. Yes, it was just for one meme coin, but if you bought any meme on this day, April 7th, you literally bought the exact bottom. But anyways, cool stuff to look back on. And from here, the total two totals, they hit their levels. If we do see Bitcoin come down a bit further, right, into the low 70s, high 60s, these bottoms may not hold on alts, on memes. But again, there's that scenario where because these already took their key levels, they may not drop further. All right. So if they do drop further, we simply buy more. If they don't, we already have positions from the Pico bottom. It's a win-win. That's how I play the market. That's like, you guys think I just come up here and like talk shit or something, and like if you listen and if you pay attention, you understand what's going on. Most guys don't understand. So anyways, we'll see what happens this week. Now, on the total crypto market cap, we still have not broken our downtrend. Also, back to USDT dominance, we haven't broken the uptrend. It's just like Bitcoin, right at the resistance, the trendline resistance line, going to the bottom on this case, right? Bitcoin's support, sorry. Bitcoin's is resistance going to the top at 109K. But here on USDT dominance, we are right at, first of all, I should also mention that this is a level at 5.35%. And you can see we are having a reaction from that level. It's also lined up perfectly with the trendline resistance. All right, here you can see on the 12-hour, we went ahead and isolated this from around 5.39 down to around 5.36. And this resulted in a slight bounce, pushed up back to 5.53%. And we're just teetering around big week. Like, we're either going to have breaks of multi-month trends, or we're going to have trend continuations, right? The break of the multi-month trend would result in USDT dominance coming down here, or the continuation of this multi-month trend would result in it pumping up. I am favoring that we are not going to break the trend right now. The trend is your friend until the very end, and the trends are still intact right now. They're about to break, but they haven't broken yet. There's no confirmation of that happening. So in this case, the trend is still our friend. And in Tether dominance's case, that means higher. In Bitcoin's case, that does unfortunately mean lower here. So yeah, I mean, this zone, 85 to 86K, good level to open up potential shorts, right? Tight invalidation. And if given, right, if it does get invalidated and it pumps up to the previous swing high, 88,800, you can look to try again. But regardless, yeah, I still do favor downside here for Bitcoin. Same thing on the total too, no trends broken, still in this downtrend. And yeah, if we see these lows over here at 720 billion, 730 billion, this swing low from August 5th, the August 5th crash, like that's the next buy zone on the total too. All right, so it either holds this low. Again, this is where we bought spot on April 7th, or it comes down here to 730 billion and we just buy more. That's how I'm playing altcoins. That's the blueprint for altcoins right now. All right. New buys, right? They started over here at the bottom. More buys will happen if we come down here, or if we break trend, we want to look to buy the pullback and ride it higher. That's the plan. Simple. If you deviate from the plan, it's probably going to result in gambling. So that's why I am so meticulous with this type of stuff, because I understand. I've been there. You can piss away money super quickly. It can evaporate like ash if you don't have a plan and you just end up gambling. And I mean, look, ETH's previous swing highs, yes, technically there is one up here at 1682. Hasn't flipped that, hasn't flipped 1955, it hasn't flipped 2089. Still a clear downtrend for Ethereum. So anyways, that's kind of a broad market update on the majors and what I'm expecting for this week. Again, we will find out if we're going to break trend and go higher on Bitcoin, or if we're going to have the trend continue and we do end up grabbing our key liquidity lower. Probably going to happen within the next like 1 to 2 days. But let's go ahead and address our live chat and see how everyone is doing today. And let's get into it. Shout out to Cryptomaniac925 saying, "What up, Empire? I've been waiting all weekend for this." Awesome. Glad to have you here, Cryptomaniac. We also have Declan Wyatt saying, "Smash that like. Things are getting real." They are getting really real right now. We are at a critical point. We also got Elvis2000. What's up, Elvis? We got Dan Griffiths. What's up, Dan? He says, "What's good, Connor? Nice to see you, my man." Good to see you as well, Dan. We got Grotto EZ. Grotto EZ says, "What up, Connor? What's going on?" Look, you want me to look at some Tau subnets? We can do that. Let's see, Mitchell, thoughts on Cubic? Has your conviction changed? So altcoins in general, in the market, right? No, like here's the thing. If we do get the drop on Bitcoin dominance to 46%, if we see USDT dominance drop to my macro target at 3.3%, I am confident Cubic will do well. It's just a matter of being able to have like the patience to see that come through. And there's obviously the chance that this doesn't happen. All right. So Cubic is at the whim of the overall market, but I'm confident to say, like, if we do get these drops, and we have in altcoin season, I think Cubic will do well. If that doesn't happen, well, it's at the whim of the market, and it's probably going to keep performing like it has been. Now, it did put in a really nice move recently. As you can see from the bottom over here, like 800 per billion, it's back up to 1300 per billion. It hasn't broken the higher time frame downtrend. It hasn't cleared any previous swing highs. The most notable previous swing high is up here at $1,430. So overall, still at the whim of the market, but I'm confident it will pump hard if we do see the certain correct conditions for it, as with any altcoin that has something going for it. Shout out to Glasshopper77, also asking about Cubic. Hope that answered the question as well, Glasshopper. And let's see, Scott Evans says, "You wanted to go below the 50-week simple moving average." I don't have the 50-week simple moving average up on my chart. I'm mainly going off of price action, supply and demand. So yeah, I haven't, and I don't know what chart you're also referring to, Scott, when you say below the 50-week. On which chart? Need more context. We also get Eric. Says, "Hello, Connor. What's going on, Eric?" FBS says, "Hey, Connor, we'll keep following your analysis over the future. Frankly, hoping for the 70 to 72K Bitcoin to have a nice leveraged entry." Yeah, so a lot of people definitely want to long that level. I would be careful, though, with limit orders, because it could be a nasty bottom if we do end up, getting the drop lower. It could be quite a nasty bottom. What do I mean by that? Well, there's no guarantee it's going to stop at 70 or 72,000. It might slice through that like butter on a long manipulation wick down and come into the mid 60s. So there is danger in using a limit order, but if you're on top of it and you're at your desk, you're at your screens with your exchanges open, when it happens, you'll likely be able to use lower time frame candle confirmations for an ideal entry, and avoid that potential crazy wick down. Or if you do get the wick down, you'll be at your computer ready to buy it to like 65, 64 if you see that, because that is another level as well, actually, down here at 65, 64. But yeah, I mean, keep that plan in place, FBS, but it's not concrete, right? Could be a long wick down, even lower to the mid 60s. It might not stop automatically at 72. We also got Jasper. What's going on, Jasper? He says, hey, Connor, how are you? Thank you for streaming. No worries, Jasper. Good to have you here. Guys, be sure to smash up that like button if you're just tuning in right now, or if you've been watching for a while, smash that like button. Thank you for your support. Armzilla in the building, in the house, saying hit the likes. Yes, hit the likes, guys. We also got Not Tywin Lannister. He's saying, I'm praying for that Bitcoin drops to 60,000 this week. 60,000 would be the bottom of this orange zone here. I mean, it would be a long wick if it hit 60. It would be a long wick and probably instantly get bought back up. So, yeah, be ready for that if it happens. But I don't personally expect it to go that low, but the market is always right at the end of the day, not me. We got Michael Scruggs. What's going on, Michael Scruggs, with a great question. He says, have you already, or are you looking to buy Caspa again? And still holding Render. So second part of the question about Render, I did pivot more to Tau. Okay, so I may get back in, but my main big large cap AI coin is Tau. And in terms of Caspa, no, I have not bought again because my level hasn't hit. So, again, the plan for Caspa, let's go over it. And let's go to the 3-day time frame chart here. So on the 3-day time frame chart, just a little bit of a recap. When we had price confirm the break in market structure, essentially with a higher time frame close beneath these low levels, just below 10 cents, I did decide to sell my CAS. Okay, I got out of it, sold everything when we had that higher time frame break of market structure. I probably should have done that with a lot of other altcoins over here back in early February, but hey, it is what it is. But anyways, the buy zone hasn't been hit. It's just like Bitcoin, where it came like super close, like Bitcoin to 74,000, but it didn't hit it. So, that doesn't meet the conditions to go long or buy it again. I want to see it come into just below 5 cents, essentially. 5 to 4 cents is the zone, the plan to buy for Caspa, the price to buy. So, no, the conditions have not been reached yet to get back into it, but that's the plan to get back into it if we do get that opportunity. Hope that helps, Michael Scruggs. We got Mary77. He says, hello, any hope on an alt season and bull run? So I have answered that question already in the stream, just going over the major charts. There is hope for it. And, we're kind of at the cusp of that hope coming alive and becoming real. Right, so altcoin season, right? The altcoins bottomed, or altcoins topped, I should say, over here in March 2024, as well as December 2024, as well as January 2025, and all of this happened at the same point on this USDT dominance chart at 3.8%. Right, this was the top every single time for the market and for altcoins, for Bitcoin included, to the exact day this hit its bottom during these 3 times. That was the top for everything. But anyways, we do still have the target level lower here. All right, so if we're going to come down to the target level lower, that's going to mean an altcoin season again, like we've seen 3 times basically over the past 13 months. And let's go look at that Tau subnet. We had a request to look at subnet number 8, which is the proprietary trading network. All right, so subnet number 8 chart on the daily time frame. It does look good. It does look like it's in this nice accumulation range. And, it does appear to be a double bottom, and it's at resistance now. It looks like it wants to break it. So Tau subnets, they're brand new still, right? They're only a few months old, and they had the initial run, and they haven't really done too much. But yeah, this looks like it looks pretty good. You know, you're not catching the bottom, right? It's already up here from this bottom, 25%, which is significant. But yeah, it's just in a higher time frame pennant, and it does look decent. But yeah, there's really not too much to go off of here, right? We can say, okay, it needs to close above the previous swing high. It hasn't done that yet. It may do it today. If it does that, well, then we can look to buy a pullback, and there is these this previous supply level has been left behind, so this would turn into demand, and that's right here. It's not too clean, but essentially you see this drop, price slices right through it. All right, so this supply zone will now become a demand zone. This is an order block, and you can look to buy if you do close above the previous swing high. But yeah, it looks like it wants to break out. And let's see, Mary77. Shout out to Guts Motors saying, yo, what's going on, Guts Motors? Mary77, can you please review Sol Layer? This is Layer. It's the only coin that's making all-time highs. Never even noticed this one, Sol Layer. Well, one thing's for certain. I would not look to be a buyer of this thing right now. It does not look like an optimal entry for this coin. So the market cap is $421 million. And this is a new coin that goes back to February. It was launched in February, and it's up like 2x from, it's actually up way more than 2x. It's up over 3x from this bottom over here in February. And it launched at 8 cents. So something like this, it does look like it is destined to see a Burj Khalifa. Like, I don't know who's buying this, who's running it up. I have an idea who might be behind it, but it looks like it will probably result in a Burj. So I wouldn't be like FOMOing into it, especially at these prices at $2. If anything, I'd probably be looking for shorts. And let's go look at our negative 61.8. And we also have price hitting the negative 61.8 Fibonacci extension, which leads me to believe there's a very strong chance that this thing has topped out. You also have a triple drive. You have Bitcoin at resistance, potentially about to, do a somewhat of a large drop. Here's our triple drive, right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Again, on the higher time frame, we were at the 61.8 Fibonacci extension. This has Burj Khalifa written on it in all capital letters. And let's actually check. This is probably on like Bybit, right? It's on all exchanges. Okay. So this looks like it would be a short. Sol Layer looks like a short to me. And given that it's already completed its triple drive, you don't have to risk too much. 5%. To make potentially, I mean, I'd say at least you come down to the support. All right, so that's a 2-to-1. Back down to $1.75. And if you end up breaking down further, this has the potential of being a massive gainer. Right, just back to the Monday high, you're looking at 20%. So Yeah, this Sol layered looks like a very clean short to me. Hope that helps, Mary77. Good question, good request. That's what I'm seeing on this chart. Again, guys, just to recap for everyone who may have joined a little bit late and missed the part where I went over Bitcoin, we just looked at Sol layer, parabolic rally right now into a major Fibonacci extension level at the negative 61.8 with a triple drive top. At the same time, right, you always want to combine that with the majors. You have Bitcoin at trendline resistance. People, again, praying for the breakout, hoping for the breakout. Could happen, but I don't think it will lead to much. But yeah, if Bitcoin rejects Sol layer, we'll print as a short. So it's worth the risk to take a setup like that, in my opinion. We got Manny asking how Barachain is doing. Let's go open up our watch list and pull up Barachain. So from this supply zone, it did drop over 50%. I know some people in the crypto empire community, it dropped over 60% actually. Some people in the community did catch this short. Shout out to Topi Wales. My man Topi, always watching the streams, but he did share in the Telegram, the Crypto Empire Telegram, the free group, that he caught this short. So I know some people did print off of this one. But how's it looking now? It doesn't look good. All right, on the daily time frame, you closed multiple strong candle closures below the previous all-time low. So this is potentially setting up for like a higher time frame type of deviation if we're going to go over a bullish scenario, but it's in a downtrend and the chart is just extremely weak, like Vitalik Buterin and Ethereum weak. So it just doesn't look strong at all. And I wouldn't try longs on this coin. This is just a no trade for me, being that this short happened, and reasons to be long. I'm not really seeing it in this tight range, and I haven't been looking at Barachain or planning anything for it, so I'm not going to start now and try and force something. But to answer the question, Barachain looks extremely weak with a higher time frame break. This is a break of market structure. You can call it a BOS, a break of structure. When you have a daily time frame close, a higher time frame close underneath a very important swing low, that's just pretty strong confirmation that the coin is weak. OM dumps 60%. Shout out to Crypto Mike. I mean, I haven't touched this coin all cycle long, but this one has been a complete anomaly. If we look on this weekly chart, this is just a complete anomaly. And this is what I mean by a Burj Khalifa is destined to happen. We were just looking at Sol layer, and I was talking about a scenario like this happening. But you have this thing going up 44x in 364 days. In 1 year, this asset multiplied by 44 times in price. And now today it erased all of that pump. Literally this happened today. This is a daily candle. Crypto Mike, thanks for mentioning this. I was not aware this happened. And it literally happened within the past 40 minutes on this hourly candle. So yeah, this is a rug pull, a very, very elaborate rug pull to get this thing to go up for over a year straight and then take all the value away from it in less than an hour. It's a pretty elaborate scheme that happened on this coin. I'm glad I wasn't in this thing, and it didn't make any sense to be in this thing, given it's hasn't made any sense. And this is why. It was all bullshit, and here's the rug. So, crazy. This is insane. This is actually quite insane. If anybody was short here, congratulations to you. Because this is like bearer chain. What took bearer chain 1 week, this thing did in 40 minutes over. It went over 60%. This is insane. Let's see if we can find some news on what the heck is going on. Like, this doesn't happen out of the blue. When I say let's find some news, you have to understand, they use news to cover up the rug pull. This is a rug pull, make no mistake, but they'll probably say it got hacked or something. Let's do a search. So I just searched $OM on Twitter. Let's see what comes up. This trader was long. He lost 23K in 5 seconds. RIP. This guy shorted it, but he closed it too early. Probably very common. 50% in 1 minute. And there's no news about any hack or anything, so I guess they just decided to rug it. This is nuts. Is this a forewarning? Is this a forewarning of what's going to happen? Like, I don't know. But yeah, this is crazy. That's crazy. You don't see that every day. You see it about once a week in crypto. Anyways, Crypto Mike, thanks for sharing that. We have Manny asking, or sorry, we have Elvis Man 2000 asking about Sui. And let me grab this chart. All right, so for Sui right now. Also, it reacted well from 175 down here. Okay, so now it's pumped into resistance again. It lines up with, every altcoin chart being at resistance basically. I'm sure if I was to dig into it in these daily candle bodies up here at 239, I'm sure there is a zone why price has reacted from this level here. If I dug in and found it. But all in all, right, if you're long here, you're trying to anticipate a breakout, like you're hoping for a breakout here. It is going against trend, right? Because Sui is in a clear, higher time frame downtrend, lower highs, lower lows. It's quite obvious to see. So yes, we are at resistance. Trying to long this is definitely pushing luck. It's very risky. Anticipating a breakout, it can work, but oftentimes it doesn't. So on the other hand, we have this level I have marked at 130, 136 down to 125. And this is the higher time frame demand, higher time frame liquidity for Sui. If we are to see Bitcoin drop further, this is the buy zone for it. 137 to 126. Now, on the other hand, in order to go ahead and flip bullish, so the previous highs would be at 252 as well as 283. The main one to recapture would be 283. It would be a reason to become more bullish on SUI if it did close above this previous high at 254. Right, so if that's the case, we can look to long a pullback to this level, or potentially it's going to go for, higher than that. But as of right now, it's a no trade for me. For example, it reminds me a lot of Tau. A lot of altcoins look similar. All right. And for something like Tau right now, a few things. Okay, we have, as you can see, these zones, right? Drop, base, drop, supply, price coming into it, wicking the high of 262. You also have this ascending channel breaking down from it. We also have the fib from the low at 167 to the high at 359, this swing high. And the 50% got hit exactly to the tick. All right, so, something like Tau, again, same thing as SUI. Trying to long this level is trying to anticipate this downtrend break here and a push higher. It is going against the trend. It is a counter trend trade. So it does present inherent risk. It would work for you if you do get a sequence of events in your favor, and that would be Bitcoin also breaking its downtrend. But you're trying to anticipate a break of trend. You're trying to counter trend trade and hoping for a breakout if you're long. So it's a tough spot to be long, and it is quite risky. It does make more sense to be short if you were able to get in at like 260. Stop loss should be a break even by now, and you essentially see if it's going to come down, retest the lows, or go from my 160 to 140, possibly 120 level on Tau. But SUI, very similar. And let's pull a fib too. So you have SUI hitting the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement exactly. Initial rejection, will this lead to follow through lower, or will we see a breakout higher? I do lean towards follow through lower, but it's risky to try and long this here. We'll see though. Hope that helps. And we have Dario asking about RAI. I haven't looked at this coin RAI before. Reploy. 7.5 million market cap. So it's a micro cap coin that is listed on MEXC and BingX, or it's on Ethereum, Uniswap. Something 7.5 million. It's a micro cap coin. So it launched at the very start of 2025. It had an initial hype pump to $14, and it's now trading for 73 cents. So this coin is down 99% from the high, which wasn't that long ago. It was only 98 days ago. It's down 95%. So something like this is something I wouldn't personally touch. One, because I have no idea what it is, who's behind it. MEXC is the only exchange that's really listed on BingX2, but they list anything. There's a bullish argument, and if you do see risk on conditions, this one could do quite well from these price levels, but it's a micro cap at 7.5 million. So it's either gonna just really disappoint, like maybe do some type of pump, or it might rip faces. But it's just so risky and very uncertain, where I just personally wouldn't touch it. But I mean, if you did want to buy, I would probably be scaling into it now if this was something that I was bullish on and did want to buy. But personally, that's not the case for me. But, you know, if you are, these are the levels again. And when did it bottom out? April 7th, April 8th. April 8th it bottomed out. The day after the totals took their key liquidity. And you had the double bottom on April 8th. So yeah, every altcoin, I talked about this at the beginning of the stream, bottomed here. We did catch spot altcoin entries, caught the exact bottom. Even with my bearish posture on Bitcoin, that doesn't stop me. When my plans get hit, when these liquidity zones get hit, I act because it was planned well ahead of time. It's not random. If you have a random approach to the market, your results will be dog shit. Shout out to Dre. What's going on, Dre? We have Fractal. He says, what known catalyst can possibly bring us down? Looks like the worst of the tariff war is done. So in regards to the tariff war, we have some updates today. 4 hours ago, China called on the United States to completely cancel the tariffs. All right, China wants the tariffs to be completely canceled. 4 hours ago, 130 countries are negotiating new deals with the U.S. And 36 minutes ago, the White House says Trump has no plans to speak with Chinese President Xi Jinping about the tariff war. So what catalyst about the tariff war, or in general, can send us lower? Again, the market does not react to news. News reacts to the market. This is proven. But anyways, it's not like the tariff war is canceled. It's still going on. It was a 90-day pause. And as you can see, China wants them completely removed, and Trump doesn't want to negotiate. So the war, the tariff war, is still happening. All right, this is not a resolved situation. And who knows? Maybe they want to escalate it. Maybe they won't disagree, and it's going to cause another spike in the market. Something like that could happen. There's also global conflict still going on, right? Not to be like a negative guy, but there's war all over the world. In Russia, Ukraine, in the Middle East. Something happens there that, like, whenever there's a war headline, I'll give you an example. We can use the total 2. We'll use the total 2 for this example. Whenever there is a war headline, for example, do you guys remember when Russia first invaded Ukraine in February of 2022? Sorry, over here. Where am I looking? Here we are. This is where I'm looking. February 2022. Russia first invades Ukraine. We see Bitcoin spike down. Or sorry, not Bitcoin, but the total 2 crypto market cap spike down from like 1.8 trillion down to 1.5 trillion. And this was obviously in the bear market, but this still resulted in, I remember, a 40% pump for the total 2. Anyways, the headline of war was, it always marks the bottom. All right, so you always buy the invasion, you buy the war headline. That could be a catalyst, going back to the original question here. You know, what can cause Bitcoin to go lower? If they start a war headline, it will spike the price lower, and that always marks a bottom, okay? So there's many things on the table that could potentially be blamed on the market going lower. And the market wouldn't react to it. The market would be the first catalyst, and the news reacts to the market. Freedom Frighten. So many things happening with Casper the next couple of months. Forget the charts, dude. No, I don't think I will forget the charts. Charts over catalyst, man. 100 times out of 100. Always. Ozzy says, can you look at Fetch? It looks like it wants to go. But yeah, that's a dangerous statement to say the fundamental catalyst will override the chart. I'd completely disagree. All right, so let's look at Fetch AI here. Okay, so you do have this trend line going back to the 6th of March. With a potential daily time frame close above it, we'll find out in 5 hours time when we get our weekly close. You know, as of right now, it's right on the line. So these previous swing highs, we looked at a few charts where like these weren't significant. The real previous swing high would have been up here at 65, and now we have one here at 58. All right, so let's mark this, and this is previous swing highs. Now, just based off of supply and demand on the daily time frame, you know, this is supply. We can have it go up to here, but we'll just use the candle bodies. I've been starting to use candle bodies much more for my supply and demand zones, and it decreases the size, right? So it gives you more refinement. It's more pinpointed when you only use the candle bodies. And like I've always said with supply and demand, you can go back and watch my original videos 4 years ago on the subject now. It's all personal preference. Some people like to draw their zones from wick to wick. All right, this would be from wick to wick, which as you see, if we use this as the supply zone, that hit, seeing an initial rejection. Some people like to use body to wick or just body to body. It's all personal preference. I suggest you test it out for yourself. But yeah, candle bodies are the most refined method of doing this. But anyways, higher time frame supply is just above current price. You don't have the confirmed change in trend or anything like that as of now. So you're saying it wants to go. You're saying it wants to break resistance, and it very well could potentially break resistance here. And I don't remember when I put this on the chart, but I put a fib here and I only left the golden pocket up from this swing low to this swing high, and price also using this as resistance. And this is weekly supply as well. This is a drop-based drop. So it's no matter how you look at FET, it's testing its downtrend. It's testing resistance currently. I don't necessarily see it breaking. Every altcoin chart is testing resistance. Bitcoin is testing resistance. Big week. It's a huge week. Like we're either going to break trend here or we're going to continue the trend. I wouldn't buy it now. Okay, if I wanted to buy FET, I would wait for the higher time frame close above the previous swing high and buy the pullback, or I would buy the flush if it does give another flush. But it's not a buy zone for me here. And the bottom was April 7th. Okay, so I had no plans to buy FET, but I bought alts at the exact bottom essentially. So another case of April 7th being the bottom for a coin. But yeah, no buy here. No conditions met for any moves to be made, in my opinion, on FET. Either wait for it to confirm an uptrend or buy the flush. Shout out to Grotto EZ. What's going on, Grotto? Shout out to Ryan Bauer with the likes on the stream from Charlotte, North Carolina, my man. Great to see you here. And is Mantra DAO continuing to go down? We have more comments about it. So it looks like our hourly candle close. This is the largest down hourly candle I may have ever seen in my trading career, my market career. This is a 76% drop, 80% drop from high to low in 1 hour OM Montreal. Now, people don't know this, but this coin did actually launch in 2020, I believe. They did a pre-sale through Kyle Chassey's paid network. Same thing with AOZ as well, AIOZ, right? And yes, Kyle Chassey's got a YouTube channel, right? Good talker, but I mean, he eats he eats big time, and I mean, look. Anyways, that's 5 years ago now that this coin launched. But yeah, this is the largest daily or 1 hour drop I've seen. I wouldn't try and catch the falling knife. It probably is going to find some liquidity level in reverse. Just for fun, let's see if we can find something. Potentially in here. Sorry, I mean, yeah, this is it. This is where it reacted from. We zoom into this. So this is drawing from wick to wick. This. Already a 16% pump from that level. I mean, yeah, this is nuts. But welcome to the crypto market. 80% in 1 hour. And I'm not sure why it's crashing. I don't know. Shout out to Woody Herzog. What's going on? Crypto Mike, what is the indicator called with the previous weekly high you use on TradingView? So go to indicators up here at the top, and you're going to want to search. Where is it? Key levels Spaceman BTC. Key levels Spaceman BTC. By Spaceman BTC, the creator of that indicator. It's free on TradingView. And quick checkup right now. So, how's this weekly candle going to close, guys? How's this weekly candle going to close? Because as of right now, we have nothing really to indicate that we're actually going to break this resistance. It's just all crossing the fingers and hoping and praying. Big week ahead. Again, tax deadline, Titanic anniversary, April 14th and 15th, and then Elon Musk's favorite day of the year, 420, April 20th. Someone asked thoughts on Dogecoin, thoughts on Doge. So again, Doge pulled out I pulled out the sniper rifle with the highly refined scope on Doge in order to snipe the bottom. Right here at 13 cents sniped. So as of right now, thoughts on Doge. It's a bit uncertain. If you haven't been able to tell from my analysis and my tone, I don't know what's going to happen next here. We're at like a critical juncture where we either break resistance or yes, there's this double bottom here. It happened. You have the bullish divergence. Fortunately, I got the exact low. Is that low going to hold? It very well could if we break the downtrend, or maybe it comes down. I do have more orders set at 12 cents. If it were to come down to 12 cents, I'm a buyer there too. That's my thoughts on Dogecoin. I'm already positioned. It's going to go to $1. I don't have the tweet open by Elon, but Elon has a tweet of his cool Dogecoin sticker where it's Dogecoin $1. So, I mean, buying it at 12 cents with the potential upside of $1, that's awesome. Or 13 cents, whatever. But yeah, that's the thoughts on Doge. I already have a position personally. If you didn't have one, I would either wait for a break and then buy the dip or buy a flush. Let's see. We got a super chat coming in. We got a super chat now from Crypto Junkie Princess. Any thoughts on baby Pepe 0x69 on ETH? It did really good until Pepe came down. It followed. I think it will take off again. And once Pepe takes off again. So Crypto Junkie Princess. I haven't looked at baby Pepe before. OX69. So it would be this one. 1.2 million market cap. And we have another super chat from Crypto Mike. $4.99. He says, thanks so much. Appreciate you, sir. That's awesome, Crypto Mike. I really appreciate that super chat and the kind words. You are very welcome, my friend, and thank you for all of your support. But back to baby Pepe here. Super chat request from Crypto Junkie Princess. So it's found a bottom range. It has found a bottom range. Right, very obvious change in market structure. It's no longer bleeding, right? It's stabilized. Right at a logical point on the chart you'd expect it to as well. So thoughts on this one? Like we always do with ranges, let's break them down. All right, so let's break down this range. Fib from the high to the low. I already have it set for my range measurement. Uncheck all boxes, only leave on the 50% fib. This gives us the exact midpoint of our range. Now, we're trading in the discount of the range. All right, you want to be a buyer of the discount of the range. You don't want to buy at the premium. You want to buy in the discount. We're in the discount. Can it do well? I don't know, right? I don't know what the catalyst for this meme is, who's behind it. If Pepe pumps, this could pump for sure. Real quick though, I have just noticed on the daily time frame. It's a concept we talk about a lot here on the channel. All comes back to supply and demand. All right, let's go ahead and isolate this one red candle body. And I'm sure if we were to drop this to like the 22-hour time frame or 23-hour time frame, we would be able to refine this, but we're just going to use the daily time frame. And let's take it to this high. So what we have here is a supply zone. Okay, we have a nice drop from this level. And then what happened was price completely mitigated it. All right, price completely mitigated this supply zone on this pump. This is left behind. This becomes now an order block. And it's also, I mean, we can call this entire area a fair value gap. So that means it's a hidden order block. That's very powerful. This is just below the current range low. All right, so if you want to try and get fancy and try and catch the exact bottom, I would look for 750K market cap. Again, left behind supply zone, now becomes a demand zone. Just below the range low, it would be the perfect bear trap, even though this is a $1.2 million market cap. Coin. TA still works on it, so that's where I would look 750K. If we want to get fancy and try and catch like a bottom, exact bottom. Like I've done over the past week with coins like Doge and Apu. So it's not like it's a foreign concept to me to be able to catch exact bottoms. One educational piece that I want to show you real quick when it comes to these order blocks and failed supply and demand zones and all things of that nature. I want to show you what occurred here on Jasmy. Just to show you guys these concepts in real time, or I mean, this happened yesterday, but this was pretty interesting to me on Jasmy, where we had a huge run up into this level here, right? Huge 20% daily pump into this level. And where I want your eyes to focus for this educational little segment is this low that happened. All right, this low at 15.2 cents. You can see I have a little green zone here. Where is this green zone coming from? So we're going to stick on the hourly time frame. And I want to show you this. This is very precise stuff, but like the more and more you guys will see this and recognize it on your own, it just builds the pattern recognition. So what we have here, again, this is a supply zone on the hourly time frame. We have Jasmy from March 9th dropping. It paused here for 1 hour. It created this 1 hour candle body, and then we had a huge spike down. All right, we always look for these huge moves to identify supply and demand levels. When we have a huge move down from a price, like we know that's a supply zone we want to mark. So I marked that on the 1 hour. Now, if you look, let's go back to the right. Price just missed the zone here on the high on March 15th. And now on yesterday's pump, notice this candle, wick, stops just before this order block, or supply zone in this case. And then it goes right through it. It completely ignores it. It goes from now a supply zone to an order block when it's ignored. Price comes, bang, to the exact tick. To the exact tick, hits that order block, and bang, there you go. All right, what is this, a 15% move now? 15%. So that's the concept of an order block in real time. That's how they look like. They work on all time frames. The higher the time frame, the more reliable your analysis will be and the higher probability the trade's going to work out. But I thought that was quite interesting on Jasmy. Yeah, that's a textbook failed supply zone turning into an order block, serving as the perfect long entry. And you get a 15% move in like 24 hours. So interesting stuff. And nothing really on BTC. Since we've started our stream, we're still battling at our trend line resistance. So huge week right now, guys. Are we going to break trend, or are we going to see the trend continue down? We're going to find out. We're going to find out this week. But as of right now, that's all I got for today, everyone. That's all I got for today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. I hope you found it insightful. I hope you got some value from it. If you guys want to catch bottom entries with us, apply to the Crypto Empire Mastermind below. Hope you enjoyed this one. Huge week. We'll find out if we break the trend. I can't wait personally. Can't wait to see how this ends up. Plans are set in place. We're ready to play the market in whichever direction it does go. Anybody telling you they know with certainty which direction it goes here, I mean, I'm personally not very certain, but I am biased to the downside still on Bitcoin specifically. On altcoins, already started buying, but I'll buy more if they go lower. Here we go. Let's see what happens this week. Smash up the like button if you haven't smashed it. Hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. My name's Connor from Crypto Empire. I just realized I was looking at the chart, but you only see my screen on the face. Sorry about that. But anyways, it's time for me to go. Have a great rest of your weekend. I'll see you all really soon. Smash the like button.